Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to teach you how to factor by removing a common factor. So let's get into this. So the first thing that we are going to want to do when we are presented with an algebraic equation and we are asked to simplify it or to factor it, we need to look for a couple of different things. Number one, what kind of variables do we have? So here we have just a. There's only a. That's the only variable in this entire algebraic expression. The next thing that we're going to look at in terms of factoring here is we are going to see if we can reduce these numbers that are in front by what we call a common factor, right? So let's say here we're going to break up 15 into our factors, right? So we have 1 and 15, right? That doesn't really help us in this case though, right? So we need to break 15 down into its 3 and 5 components, right? So we have 3 and 5 and 1 and 15 as our factors for 15. And then we are going to look at 6. So for 6, we have 1 and 6, but that's not useful to us, so I'm going to write down the next ones, which are 2 and 3. Now, we're going to see that we have a common factor between both of these. Now, we are going to look at our common factor with our variables. This one's just a little bit trickier because you have to be familiar with exponents and how they work. In this case here, we have a, which has an exponent of 1, and then we have a to the power of 2, a squared. So we should know from looking at this that a squared, if I were to break it up into its factors, is a to the power of 1 and a to the power of 1. And so we can see here that we actually indeed have a common factor with here and here, right? So how does this help us out? Let's actually rewrite this over here so that we don't have as much clutter anymore. So we have 6a squared plus 15a. So what we want to do is we want to divide both of these by the same common factor. So we have 3, but we also have a as our common factor here. Then we're going to simplify this. So 6 divided by 3, we know it gives us 2. A squared divided by a to the power of 1. Remember, it's power to the 1. We're going to subtract those exponents. So 2 minus 1 just gives us 1. So that means we're left with a. Over here, we have 15 divided by 3. So that becomes 5. And we have a to the power of 1 minus a to the power of 1, which means that we have a to the power of 0. Now, if we remember from our laws of exponents, anything to the power of 0 is just equal to 1. So we can rewrite this as 2a plus 5, and that's it. Well, not really. We have taken out the common factor, but we still need to keep the same value as up here. So what we're going to do now to finalize our answer is we're going to put our reduced form into our brackets, and we're going to put this 3a, our common factor, outside the brackets, like this. And there you have it. We have now factored this equation here. We started off with 6a squared plus 15a, and we became 3a times 2a plus 5. So here we have another example. This time we have 8x squared minus 6x. So the first thing we want to do is we want to break these up into our common factors. So let's start with our 8 and our 6 here. We're going to break these up. 8 becomes 2 and 4, and 6 becomes 2 and 3. So we can see that our common factor is 2. And now let's take a look at our x's here, right? So this broken up becomes x and x, which means that our common factor is x, right? So let's write it all over here again. So we have 8x squared minus 6x. What we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and divide both of these by our common factor of 2 and our common factor of x. 8 divided by 2 is going to give us 4. 6 divided by 2 is going to give us 3. And don't forget, we have to carry over this negative here, this subtraction. X to the power of 2 divided by x to the power of 1 is just going to give us x. X divided by x, or x to the power of 1 divided by x to the power of 1, gives us x to the power of 0, which is just 1, right? So I'll make a little note here. X divided by x is equal to 1. So we're just going to leave the 3 as it is. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put these in our brackets, and we're going to put this thing that we divided it by, the common factor, 2x, on the outside of the brackets. And there we go. We now have factored this out right here. And that is factoring by using a common denominator.